Hello the internet and welcome to my channel. I've purchased a gimbal. It's an Insta360 Flow 2 Pro and I'm gonna use it as a virtual operator to keep myself framed in my picture-in-picture video. I like it, but there's some things I don't like and I'd like to make a short video about it. Most of my videos are picture-in-picture, so you can see me on the top left of the video, because I don't like when you just see the video, my hands, and what I'm working on without seeing me talking. I think it adds a little bit of personality to the video. I like the idea that you can see me talking to you. And I've been using my iPad or my iPhone to shoot myself using the front-facing camera, which is not great, but for a little square on top left, it's, quality was not really a concern. Though recently I've been starting using the rear camera because I appreciate that the quality is so much better. Now, when using a static device, I constantly have to physically realign it to make sure I'm actually centered. So if I'm moving around without realizing, I end up with something which is not centered. But most importantly, I seldom center myself perfectly fine, and I have to correct it in post-production. I'm using Resolve as my editing software. It takes a second to recenter this little picture-in-picture. But as you can imagine, if you have a 45 minutes video, yes, you can do that in batches, but I end up with different sections which are framed differently. So I have to reframe myself in batches multiple times throughout the video. So some time ago, someone mentioned this gimbal and they mentioned the extraordinary ability of tracking a person. And then version number 2 came out, which allows to use third-party apps. So you're not limited to the Insta360 app. Now, recently I started using the Blackmagic Design camera app. I really like it. I wanted to use that one, so I decided to pull the trigger, buy this gimbal, and use it with the Blackmagic Design camera app. And everything works, but there's something I don't like. And because I can't really see many videos online talking about this, because probably, it's kind of an unusual use case scenario for this setup, I decided to make my own just to share my experience. Now let's begin with what I really like. This is the Insta360 app and I'm using the rear camera for maximum quality. The tracking is absolutely fantastic. If I'm moving slowly, left or right, the camera is following me left or right very smoothly, very accurately. It's absolutely fantastic. And if I do fast movement, I'm going to my microscope position here, the camera is following me 100%. If I'm going back here, no problem at all. Going back to my computer, sorry, the iPad is in the way, no problem. And if I'm going back to my motherboard here, everything is working perfectly fine. I really like the fact that the camera is so smooth and is following every small, tiny little movement very smoothly. Even though there's something I'd like improved, and we'll talk about that in a minute. However, when I try third-party apps, which is one of the reasons I purchased this gimbal, well, things change. I understand that this is using Apple Dock Kit, and I don't know why it's doing this, but this is Blackmagic Design, and as you can see, the camera is not following me anymore. It only follows me after I end up quite away from the center, and it does it not very smoothly. It's just a big jump. As you can see, I can keep moving and eventually the camera will follow me, but with like a pretty instant movement, which maybe is not great because I might end up outside of the frame for talking for quite some time and the camera is still not following me until eventually, it decides to follow me. And it's not just a matter of giving the camera a minute or a few seconds. It will only follow me when I'm outside of a certain area, apparently. So I don't think I'm centered at the moment. I can't see myself. But if I keep moving right a little bit, that's it. The camera is following me. And again, the same. It only follows me after it looks like there's an invisible square, and until I'm outside of that square, the camera doesn't get the instruction to just follow me and finally recenter me, which is not great, obviously, because I might end up talking outside of the frame for quite some time, and I don't realize it, and that's it, and I can still reframe myself manually, but I purchased this thing because I wanted to avoid reframing myself manually. Now I've been playing with the Now, I've been playing with the options and I couldn't find really anything to change it. I sent a message on Reddit and Insta360 came back to me saying it's basically the way the app is using Apple Docket and it's not their responsibility. Well, I don't know anything about this. All I know is that the Apple native camera app is doing exactly the same. So it sounds like more of a Apple Docket limitation. I do not know. If you do know, just do leave me a comment down below. And also, if you know how to fix this, maybe there's an option I haven't seen, do leave me a comment down below. So for this reason, hello camera. So for this reason, I really can't use any third-party app. I'm assuming this would work for a different use case scenario, but not for me. So I decided to just use the Insta360 app, which is quite nice. It's not as nice as the Blackmagic Design app, but I thought, hey, let's give it a go. It might work totally fine. I'm back on the Insta360 app. As you can see, the app is following me very smoothly, and that's what I wanted to add a few minutes ago. Yes, I do appreciate that the cam is very smooth and it's very precise and it keeps following me, but I think I'd like to see, let's call it a virtual TV operator function. What I mean with that is that I would like the camera not to keep reframing myself constantly. By just talking to you, I'm, just moving my head a little bit, and the camera keeps moving the frame a little bit, which I feel it's a bit distracting, if you allow me to say that. I think there's no need, if this was like a professional studio with a human being behind the camera, there's no need to follow my head constantly. I think I would like to see a feature that allows my head to move a little bit within the frame. And if I really stay in one position for more than a few seconds, then the camera can probably, slowly put me in the center again. But as it is right now, it keeps moving all the time, whatever I'm doing, depending where I'm looking at, the camera keeps moving. Do I like it? I think it's acceptable, but Insta360, if you're watching this video, I think I really would like to see a virtual studio feature, which allows me, I don't know to do what exactly, but to set up some parameters that allow me to smoothen up the movement of the camera even more. That being said, I really haven't got much to complain about the tracking inside the Insta360 app. Unfortunately, outside of the Insta360 app for this application, I think this is not really working. And finally, there is a last issue I've encountered with this camera, which I have a feeling is going to be a deal breaker unless I find a solution. Yes, I have an iPhone, I have an iPad, but I'm normally using Windows. Now, with all the other camera apps, Blackmagic Design or Pro Movie, which is the one I've been using for quite some time, there's an option to tell the software to save inside the app. This storage location can be accessed on Windows using iTunes, or there's a new software now called Apple Devices, but it's the same thing. I can basically access a little reserved section and just transfer the files from there. The advantage is that, well, first of all, it works. I can just access it, no issues with Windows. Number two, all the videos I'm doing for my YouTube channel, they live inside a little reserved area. They don't end up being within the photos, which is a sea of pictures and clips, which I'm, recording for my own things, for personal reasons. The Insta360, unfortunately, seems to be only able to save under photos. Despite having found some evidence on some manuals that it should save inside the app, well, it doesn't work for me. The DCIM folder is empty and everything ends up in that sea of picture, which is photos. Now, if you have a Mac, it's probably doable. With a Windows computer, accessing that sea of photo is absolutely impossible. Yes, you can access it, but Windows is showing that section as a sea of folder and files. And most importantly, the files have a random name, which doesn't match the file name that you see within Photos itself. So this is a disaster because obviously this is my personal phone, I'm not a professional channel, and with all the other apps, I know that everything I'm shooting for my channel is inside the app. It's there, it's nowhere else. And if I'm shooting something today and something tomorrow and the following day, I know that in a week's time, I can go back to that folder, everything is in there. While with everything in Photos, well, everything is mixed up with pictures of kittens or sunsets or plants or food, anything that I want to take pictures or make videos of. And that makes things quite complicated because I would definitely end up losing video, missing videos, and then I would probably end up not deleting all the videos. It's going to be an absolute nightmare. So once again, if you know a way to change this, because once again, Insta360 came back to me and they didn't even reply to that comment, so I don't really know if I'm doing something wrong or not. But so far, I haven't found a way to change this, and unless you have a Mac, at that point, I'm sure it's going to be everything is going to happen automatically. With Windows, it's really complicated. So in short, for my use case, I think the tracking capability of the Insta360 Flow 2 Pro is amazing only inside the dedicated app. Outside of the app, it works, but for my use case, it really doesn't work. And if you have a Windows computer, well, bear in mind that the files ended up in the sea of photos, which are more or less impossible to retrieve or very difficult to retrieve using a Windows computer. Once again, I'm not an expert when it comes to this. I'm more than happy to be proven wrong. If you know what I'm doing wrong, if there's a section, an option somewhere in the settings that allows me to improve either on the tracking capabilities of the gimbal using third-party apps or the way the app is saving the files on my iPhone, well, do let me know down below in the comments, and I'd be very happy to be proven wrong. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, as usual, I'd appreciate a thumb up down below, and also consider subscribing to this channel if you like this kind of things. Don't forget, this is my second channel, so go and check my main channel, and also I'm on Facebook and Patreon. There is a free tier on Patreon, so no excuses, but if you don't want to support me, which is very much understandable, well, maybe you can buy me a coffee, and the link is also down below in the description. So if you don't want to buy me a coffee, which is also very much understandable, well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you again for the next one. For now, thank you very much, enjoy your day, and hope to see you soon. Bye bye.